Hello, welcome to my channel, Leah Decodes. Look closely because the moment you learn this, you'll realize how many chances you already missed. Some women never say what they feel, not because they don't want you, but because they're watching to see who you really are. I'm going to speak to you like someone who actually wants you to win, not someone selling fantasy. When a woman wants to give herself to you emotionally first, physically later, she rarely announces it. She reveals it in quiet, controlled ways. And if you're not trained to notice them, you'll misread silence as disinterest, restraint as rejection, and caution as confusion. Here's the first hidden sign. She relaxes her guard around you, but not all at once. At first, she may appear composed, even distant, but then something slips. Her tone softens when she speaks to you. Her posture changes. She lingers a second longer than necessary. She lets moments stretch instead of rushing away. This isn't accidental. Women are biologically wired to protect themselves emotionally. When she begins to loosen that protection in your presence, it means she feels safe enough to consider surrender, not weakness. Surrender. And understand this safety doesn't mean you're harmless. It means you're controlled, grounded, predictable in your values, not your behavior. A man who is chaotic repels intimacy. A man who is stable invites it. The second sign is subtle but powerful. She tests your boundaries lightly, not to manipulate you, but to measure you. She may cancel plans once. She may disagree with you on purpose. She may challenge a statement you make, not aggressively, but curiously. She's not trying to win. She's trying to see if you collapse, chase, or become defensive. If you overreact, she learns you're emotionally unstable. If you withdraw completely, she learns you're unsafe to rely on. But if you stay calm, playful, and grounded, she learns something important. You can hold emotional weight. That's when attraction deepens. Here's the third sign most men misunderstand. She shares pieces of her inner world, not her body. She talks about her fears, her past disappointments, her confusion about relationships. This isn't friend zone behavior. This is pre-intimacy behavior. Before a woman gives herself physically, she often gives access emotionally. She wants to know, will you protect what she gives you, or will you misuse it? If you rush her, sexualize everything, or turn vulnerable moments into jokes, you fail the test. Men who women give themselves to are men who can listen without trying to take. The fourth sign is in her restraint. She could move faster, but she chooses not to. This is where weak men get frustrated. They think, if she wanted me, she'd make it obvious. No. If she didn't care, she'd rush. Restraint means value. Restraint means she's deciding whether you're worth the risk. Women don't withhold intimacy to punish men. They delay it to protect themselves. And if you can stay present without pressure, confident without entitlement, interested without neediness, you separate yourself from most men she's met. The final sign in this part is the most revealing. She watches how you treat yourself, not how you treat her, how you treat you, your discipline, your emotional control, your ambition, your self-respect. A woman doesn't give herself to a man she has to manage. She gives herself to a man she can lean into. If you feel her observing you quietly, asking questions about your life, your choices, your direction, she's not being curious. She's deciding. And whether you realize it or not, the moment she starts deciding, attraction has already begun. There's a silent conversation happening between you two, one most men can't hear. She's not speaking with words. She's speaking with signals, microactions that most guys misinterpret as friendliness, politeness, or harmless flirting. But here's the truth. When a woman is ready to give herself to a man, she doesn't need to scream it. She lets the small things do the talking. And if you notice them, you'll understand far more than words could ever tell you. One of the clearest signals is her proximity, not accidental, not coincidental. She moves closer than necessary, almost imperceptibly at first. In a crowded room, she shifts to stand or sit near you. She angles her body in your direction, not to show dominance or attention seeking, but because being near you feels natural to her. Most men overlook this because they confuse comfort with casualness, but make no mistake. Comfort around a man is often the first stage of trust, and trust is the precursor to desire. Another hidden sign is her laughter. Not the polite surface-level laughter she gives to coworkers or acquaintances, but the kind that bubbles out when she feels seen, heard, and safe with you. She laughs at your jokes more than anyone else's, even when they're not that funny. She smiles at moments you don't even realize are significant. This is her way of rewarding your presence, signaling that she enjoys being around you more than she should and more than she usually allows. Then there's the way she touches you, subtle, almost fleeting. A brush of her hand against yours, a playful nudge, a touch on your arm that lingers just slightly longer than necessary. These are not accidents. She's testing, inviting, and seeing how you respond. A man who responds with calm confidence, who acknowledges without overreacting, signals that he's a safe harbor for her curiosity, her desires, and eventually her intimacy. A man who panics, overreaches, or misreads the touch will close the door before it even opens. Her attention is another clue, but it's not about what you might think. She remembers details you casually mentioned, like a story from your childhood or a goal you're chasing. She asks about it later. Most men ignore this, thinking women are just being nice. But the truth is deeper. This is her way of showing she values your life as much as her own. A sign she's mentally and emotionally investing in you before she invests physically. Finally, watch her eyes. Not just fleeting glances, but the way she looks at you when she thinks you're not noticing. Her pupils may dilate. She holds your gaze longer than polite conversation requires. She looks for you in a crowd, even when she's engaged elsewhere. Eye contact is intimate. Prolonged eye contact is the language of desire before words are even spoken. Recognizing these signs doesn't mean you act on them recklessly. The real power lies in understanding them, holding yourself steady, and moving intentionally. When you do, you become the kind of man she doesn't just notice. She considers giving herself to emotionally and physically. And here's the secret. Most men miss desire isn't won by force, by charm, or by words alone. It's earned in silence, in consistency, in your ability to see her, understand her, and hold space for her without pressure. The men who succeed are not louder. They are steadier, calmer, and harder to sway. By the time a woman is showing these signs consistently, she's already decided she wants you. But she's still testing whether you're ready for the responsibility that comes with what she's willing to give. The question isn't whether she wants you. The question is, are you ready to earn the trust she's silently offering? Here's where most men completely misunderstand the game. A woman who is ready to give herself doesn't rush towards you. She waits, observes, and evaluates. And if you misread patience for disinterest, you'll sabotage every chance you have before it even begins. The truth is, restraint is one of the strongest signals of attraction. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about protecting herself until she knows you're worthy of what she's willing to give. Notice how she mirrors you, not in the obvious way, but in subtle patterns, your gestures, your tone, your pace of speaking. She adapts to you almost unconsciously. This is a subconscious signal that she's aligning with you emotionally. Mirroring is a powerful psychological tool, and when a woman does it, she's communicating. I feel safe with you. I want to connect deeper. Most men overlook this entirely. They see it as coincidence. They fail to act. But if you recognize it, you understand she's opening a door that few men even know exists. Then pay attention to her energy around you. She's likely to show her best self not by performing, but by revealing her true, unfiltered reactions. A woman will smile more openly, move with more ease, and laugh more freely around a man she's considering giving herself to. She allows moments of vulnerability, a fleeting glance of uncertainty, a hint of fear, or a tiny confession she would never reveal to most people. These are breadcrumbs. They're her way of saying, I'm thinking of letting you in. Look also at how she handles your absence. She doesn't bombard you with messages or demand attention, but she checks in ways that are thoughtful, not necessary. She remembers what you like, what you need, or even small things that made you smile, and she integrates them into her actions. This is a subtle but powerful signal of investment. A woman ready to give herself doesn't need to dominate your time. She strategically places herself in your mental and emotional space. Then there's the paradox of push and pull. And she may act distant at times, not out of disinterest, but as a test, an instinctive mechanism to ensure you can handle patience, self-control, and consistency. She's watching whether you chase, whether you panic, or whether you remain composed. This is not manipulation, it's evaluation. She's determining if you are the kind of man she can entrust with her vulnerability. The men who pass this test are rare because most are blinded by desire or ego. Her conversations often shift to introspective or personal topics, giving you a peek into her emotional landscape. She may talk about fears, regrets, or dreams she's never shared with others. This is pre-intimacy behavior. She's giving pieces of herself without yet giving herself entirely. And here's the crucial point. The way you respond determines whether she closes the door or slowly opens it wider. A man who listens with empathy, who respects her boundaries, and who engages without judgment becomes a safe harbor. A man who interrupts, dismisses, or rushes turns that window into a wall. Finally, notice the moments when she surprises you with subtle touches of care. She remembers your preferences, subtly adjusts situations to make them easier for you, or shows thoughtfulness in quiet, almost invisible ways. These gestures aren't accidental. They're signs of her emotional investment, signs that she's testing the waters of surrender. And if you respond with genuine acknowledgement and steadiness, she will give you more than you imagine possible, but only if you earn it. At this point, the game isn't about proving your desire. It's about proving your worth, your patience, and your emotional reliability, because the woman who's silently signaling all these things is already interested. She's already considering surrender, but she wants to be sure the man she chooses is capable of holding the weight of what she's about to offer, and the truth most men don't see. Many fail, not because she wasn't interested, but because they didn't recognize the signals, and they acted too soon, too desperate, too loud. In contrast, the man who watches, waits, and moves with precision becomes the man she can trust with everything. If you've noticed any of these signs in the women around you, you're already on the right path. But the real challenge is internal. Are you the man she can rely on? The one who earns her surrender without her having to say a single word? Now, let's get to the signs that cut deeper ones. Most men completely miss because they're focused on the obvious, the physical, or the superficial. A woman who is ready to give herself will reveal her intentions in the way she allows you to see her life. Watch carefully. She lets you in, not fully, but enough to test if you can handle authenticity without trying to take control. She shares her routines and habits, not to brag, not to impress, but to see if you notice, if you respect, and if you accept her rhythm without judgment. She may mention a favorite cafe she goes to, a quiet hobby, or even a vulnerable moment from her past. Most men dismiss these as casual conversation, but for her, this is intimacy in disguise. Every story she tells, every detail she drops is a subtle signal. She's willing to open more if she feels seen, appreciated, and safe. Her subtle competitiveness is another clue. She might challenge you in small ways, debate a trivial opinion, outperform you in a game, or tease you lightly. This isn't to belittle or provoke. It's her way of gauging your confidence and emotional stability. A man who can handle her challenges with humor, intelligence, and calm confidence demonstrates that he's a partner, not a threat. The ones who crumble, complain, or overreact, they never see the deeper signs because they're too busy defending their ego. Notice how she celebrates your victories. A woman who's considering giving herself emotionally invests in your life as much as her own. When you succeed or overcome a challenge, she reacts with genuine enthusiasm, not shallow politeness. She notices your growth. She praises your strength. And she lets you feel appreciated without needing anything in return. This is a subtle form of intimacy, a quiet hand extended in trust. She also tests your emotional resilience. She might share a moment of doubt, a worry, or a fear, not because she expects you to fix it, but because she wants to see if you can hold space without judgment. If you respond with understanding, steadiness, and empathy, she learns that you're capable of handling her fully. If you respond with frustration, sarcasm, or impatience, she withdraws. She is evaluating whether you can handle what most men would run from, her true self. Then there's the way she prioritizes time with you, but subtly. She doesn't cancel her life to accommodate yours, but she makes room for you in ways that are meaningful, suggesting shared experiences, initiating plans that reflect her knowledge of your preferences, or simply making herself present without being overbearing. This is intentional. She's testing whether you notice, whether you value her efforts, and whether you respond with maturity rather than entitlement. Her physical gestures often intensify subtly. It could be a touch on your shoulder that lingers slightly, a hand brushing your arm as she laughs, or leaning closer when she speaks. These micro actions are carefully calibrated. She wants to gauge your response without putting herself at risk. A man who recognizes the significance and responds with calm attentiveness sends a signal that he's ready for deeper intimacy. The most profound sign of all, however, is her patience. She's willing to wait while observing how you grow, how you handle challenges, and how you carry yourself. This patience is not passive, it's active evaluation. She's measuring your consistency, your self-respect, and your ability to maintain composure under pressure. And if you rise to the occasion, she begins to mentally and emotionally commit to you before a word of surrender is even spoken. Here's the truth that hits most men hard. By the time she starts showing all these signs consistently, she's already leaning toward giving herself. But she will not cross that threshold until she's confident that you can hold her world without breaking it. The question you must ask yourself is simple. Are you prepared to be the man she can rely on when the rest of the world cannot? By now, you might be thinking that all of this sounds complicated, and it is because it requires more than just noticing signs. It requires mastery of yourself. A woman ready to give herself doesn't just test your attention, humor, or patience. She tests your inner strength. She looks at how you handle your emotions, how you navigate challenges, and how you honor your own life while respecting hers. If you can hold that balance, you don't just attract her, you earn her trust, her loyalty, and her intimacy. One of the clearest signs is how she reacts when you speak about your ambitions. A woman who's considering surrender doesn't shrink from a man with goals, dreams, or strong opinions. She engages. She asks questions. She challenges gently. She supports without taking control. If she doubts, she observes. If she trusts, she participates. This is her way of testing whether you are a man who can handle a partnership where both of you are whole, independent, and confident. She won't hand herself to a man who is fragile, inconsistent, or desperate. Then there's the way she integrates you into her environment subtly. She introduces you to the corners of her life that matter, the friends she trusts, the places that feel safe, the conversations that are usually private. This is not casual inclusion. This is measured, intentional sharing. If you respond with respect, curiosity, and patience, you signal that you're worthy of further access. If you respond with entitlement, pressure, or insecurity, She recoils. She's teaching without words. The way you react now determines how much of her world you'll inhabit later. Her emotional signals become more layered over time. The moments of laughter, teasing, or gentle touch are no longer just playful. They carry weight. She's allowing herself to feel, to lean, to anticipate closeness, but she is still watching. She measures every reaction, every response, every sign of consistency. A man who misreads her patience as disinterest or her laughter as casual friendliness will fail because he misses that the opportunity has been growing quietly, step by step, under his very nose. Finally, the most profound sign is in her vulnerability. She may reveal a fear, a disappointment, or a hope she rarely shares with anyone. And when she does, she's not testing you for gamesmanship. She's testing for stewardship. Can you hold what she entrusts without judgment or misuse? Can you protect her trust and honor her courage? A man who answers this silently, confidently, and with respect becomes more than attractive. He becomes necessary in her world. All of these signs converge into one truth. A woman ready to give herself communicates it in ways you have to truly understand. She will not announce it loudly, she will not rush it, and she will not hand it to someone who fails her tests. She will reveal it piece by piece in silence and subtlety. And only the man who observes, responds wisely, and holds his composure can recognize the gift she's offering before she even says a word. So here's what I want you to do. Think about the women in your life who show even a fraction of these signs. Reflect honestly. Are you the man who can recognize her signals, respect her patience, and meet her in the space she's quietly offering? Here's a challenge for you. Take the number of signs you've noticed in her behavior, multiply it by the level of confidence you have in yourself, then divide by the patience you've shown. Drop the answer in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who needs to hear this. It might change how he sees what's been in front of him all along.